Good morning, guys, gals, and pals. How you doing today? Welcome to day 17 of Just December. We're getting close to the end, so I hope you've been paying attention. Today, I'm going to walk you through the rest of the rotational shot put form and how to connect it to the rest of the throw. I've shown you how to do a standing throw, a mirror turn, a South African drill, and now I'll be teaching you the start of the rotational throw. So you'll be able to piece it all together from there, and I hope you enjoy the coming content. So in order to show you in more detail, so that way I'm not off to the side, I'm going to be demonstrating it here as if this was the edge of the circle. Unfortunately, that means I can't connect it to the rest of the throw because I would hit my face in the wall and that wouldn't be fun. All right, great. So my feet start at the edge of the toe board. I'm going to get a nice stance, a little farther shoulder width apart. I'm going to get onto both of my tippy toes, getting a nice deep squat, having my center of mass be over my feet. I'm going to put my left arm over my left knee, so that way, no matter how I turn it, these two would be pointing the same direction. My right arm is going to be holding the shot put as normal. And so this is going to be how you start the rotational throws. And then I'm going to show you how to connect it to the South African in just a second. As you probably could have seen earlier, my leg was shaking quite a lot just because it's a very tiring motion. So if you are hyping yourself up to start a throw, I'd recommend just being on the heels of your feet. And then when you're ready to throw, then you get on your tippy toes. All right, so we're ready to throw. How I like to start these throws is I like to use my shoulders to get a bit more momentum. Although you could see here that my balance is still good. I could do this a million times and never fall over. But you can see that when I'm turning my left leg, my left arm is following that knee, so it's always pointing in the same direction. All right, so we're going to shift our weight onto our right as we do this. And then when you come back, you're going to shift that weight back over onto your left. You're going to use that momentum to turn yourself. Almost hit myself in the wall. It's the one thing I said not to do. As I was saying, you're going to use that momentum you just built up after you shifted your weight to completely turn your heel. And then this position looks familiar, doesn't it? This is the position of the South African drill. So that's why I showed you that yesterday, because today you're going to be using this starting motion to connect it to the South African. If I did not have this wall here, I would put it together for you. But, well, the wall is here. It's not going anywhere. Maybe I'll show you. Oh, it's a good idea. I am a three-dimensional being. You're Martin. It's the little things you forget. Okay, so after that embarrassing moment, I've brought myself back together. So I'm going to start here as if this was the edge of the circle. Of course, I'm not going to put too much force into it because this wall is still here and I don't want to kick it. So getting into a nice deep squat. My left arm is still over my left leg. I'm going to get a wind up, shifting my weight onto the right, and then I shift my weight back onto my left while getting a nice turn. I'm actually locking my ankles so that way they turn at the same time. A problem I've had for a very long time is that I like to turn and then quickly bring my ankle around, which throws you off. And, well, if you do it wrong enough, it can mess up your ankle, so I wouldn't recommend it. So what I mean by that is that instead of disassociating my ankle and my leg, I'm turning them both at the same time, so that way there isn't any lock. So that looks something like this. If I was here, I'm doing this, not this. So make sure to use your ankles in order to align your feet with your leg. So one more time, this is going to be a full rotational throw. Going to get in that nice deep stance. Shoulders square, chest is up. I'm going to load my weight onto my right, shift it back over to my left, generating that rotational momentum. I'm driving down to the center of the circle. I'm landing with my foot in the center, giving it a nice quick pivot so that I can plant my left leg. I'm still wound up. So now I can get a good standing throw. So the benefit of a rotational versus a glide is that with a rotational, you're adding a lot more momentum, but the drawback there is that it's a lot harder to control. So a lot of throwers will ask themselves at some point, which is better, the rotational or the glide? And there isn't a great answer to that. Each style has their own pros and cons. For the glide, it relies a lot on pure strength and brute force, a lot easier to understand, and the learning curve of it isn't as steep. Now, the drawback being that obviously if you're somebody who doesn't have a crazy amount of muscle mass, it'll be a little harder to compete with some of those some of those muscular giants. And at a certain point, having good form for a glide won't necessarily make up for that lack of strength. That's why I like rotationals so much, is because I haven't even hit close to the skill ceiling. So at least for me, it was a lot more productive and like a lot easier to stick with it. That had such responsive feedback. So you would fix one thing and then it would go X feet or inches farther. And for me, that's a really satisfying way to be able to do shot put. And it resonates with me really well, opposed to just gaining muscle over the course of the season and then having your throws increase with that linearly. And of course, it's not a downside to do either one, but it is important to keep in mind that it's your decision for what throw you want to do. There's definitely more videos that talk about that kind of thing if you're interested to know more about it. I'm not the premier expert on what shot put form you should use. I use rotational because I like that it has a higher skill ceiling and it makes me feel like I'm a lot more in control of my stuff rather than my muscles just having an off day and now my throat's screwed up. I like being in control. I like being able to adapt to my throws. I find that to be a really satisfying way to go about it. But if you find satisfaction or joy in the glide or the stand or the shuffle or the stomp, which you'll see in a couple of days, then I don't blame you. It's whatever you want to do, and as long as you're improving personally, I don't care. Your coaches probably don't care. We just want you to improve. So TLDR, glides are strength, rotationals are skill. That's pretty much like the simplest way I can put it. Of course, you know, it boils down to more than just that, but if that's how you want to think about it, then I wouldn't blame you. So that's the end of today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Today was a little longer than usual. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But you know what? I'll see you next time. I'm Martin, signing off.